He's just made himself a little spot here. He's such a baby. Hello. Hey, it's Monday. And today has been really chaotic and really fun all at the same time. I did actually call with admin today. We did not get macOS to boot. We got very close. So close. We got the installer for Sonoma, because Ventura didn't work. The installer for Sonoma booted. But then we ran into some problems that unfortunately, we just ran into problems we couldn't resolve today. And I don't know if we're going to end up calling tomorrow because it's Adam's birthday tomorrow. Happy early birthday, buddy. And there's too much going on, but we're going to call at some point and maybe try to figure it out. If not, we have a backup plan that doesn't involve macOS so that machine can be a dual boot. We'll get there when we get there. Today, unfortunately, while I was on the call with admin, I have a desktop computer. It's underneath my desk that I usually use in place of the laptop or the laptops, just because desktops are a little more powerful, more stable a lot of the time, and unfortunately, my desktop has died. It's a bad motherboard, and there's not much I can do about it. I could repair it. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm looking into alternatives, and hopefully I can find a solution. Right now, laptops are fine. They'll fit the bill for what I need for right now, and I can just work off the Mac, because it's a Mac, so that'll just work. But yeah, I'm very frustrated. Now, as for everything else, I have been changing around the design of the end slate and some of the graphics that you see. We're going a little more rounded and exploring what my capabilities that I currently have can do for us here on the vlog. Very proud of what I've done so far. The designs look very beautiful. They're very high resolution because this entire all of the videos on this entire channel are all in 4K. They're all captioned too, which that is a whole other issue we can talk about, but I have been captioning every single video on this channel myself. Every single one has been manually captioned. It has been a pain. But Final Cut Pro 11 has this new feature called Transcribed Captions, which uses the AI engine in your machine, at least as far as we can tell, to generate captions in iTunes time text or ITT files. And I just export those and bring them into YouTube. Well, yesterday, Final Cut started crashing when I did that, when I exported it. So I have to duplicate the captions every single time as SRT just to get the file out. And then I have to tell YouTube to ignore it because the first line is always corrupted. So, tangible workflow issue. Now, I mentioned yesterday that I reformatted my iPhone, and some of you have wondered how that's gone. And I just wanted to say that it has solved most of the problems, but there are other issues that have made me want to go back to an Android phone. Now, I actually have the Android phone that I use right here, and it does have Blackmagic camera. And it has it's actually really good on here. The issue is that it doesn't identify the microphones correctly, so I have no idea which microphone I'm shooting with, which is probably why the audio in that one video I recorded on the floor with the Pixel was bad. And so I'm going to have to play around with that. I don't know what happened there. Now, the other thing that I'm going to have to figure out too is I use a Mac. The only computer I have that isn't macOS right now, but will be in the future, is this one. This one is a Lenovo IdeaPad. It's one of the gaming variants from 2021, and it's a really nice computer. It's maxed out. It has a GTX 1650, 32 gigs of RAM, an AMD Ryzen 5 5600H, and it's a good computer. It's a really good computer. But Windows 11 is terrible. And I don't know why Microsoft keeps pushing Windows 11 when it's this garbage. It's not that the design is bad, it's that the stability itself is terrible. How they got this out the door and said this is acceptable is beyond me. I grew up on Ubuntu. And specifically this variant of Ubuntu. It wasn't pretty. And nowadays, operating systems are pretty, but they're not functional anymore. We've, for some reason, prioritized beauty over function, and I don't know when we lost that. Apple never lost it, that's for sure, but their bar to entry is so high that it's almost like you can't even like use Apple products without dropping $1 billion. But, you know, it just, what happened to Windows? I know they switched to a software as a service model at some point. Like, what happened to Windows? Genuine question, like, what happened? Because, you know, Satya Nadella took over God knows how long ago, and we had Windows 8.1, which was a failure, Windows 10, which was fine because it went back to what it should have been originally with Windows 7, and I'm going to be honest, nobody likes 10 and nobody likes 11. They've had 2 bad releases in a row, and they used to have this good, bad, 3 bad releases in a row. Windows 10 was acceptable. People actually they were okay with it, but it had issues. And then Windows 11 came out and just, I mean, you've seen the news articles. It's insane. I don't like Windows 11. I only installed it because admin was like, you should install Windows 11 because you haven't upgraded yet. You've been on 10 for forever. I was like, you know what? Yeah, fine. I haven't really used the new operating system. I've used it a couple times over the years when Windows would force update it to 11, and I would just eventually just roll it back to 10 because there were issues. They're still there in 24H2 2 years later. And supposedly we're getting a new Windows release next year, and I don't know if that's going to solve my problems or make them worse. And that's scary to me because Windows 10 has a limited shelf life here. We're coming up on that next October. We have 11 months of Windows 10 support left before everyone's going to have to either get new computers or switch to Linux, which, being a Linux user, is tempting. So anyway, that's my rant. I don't know. I do know that Windows 11 is absolutely terrible and, you know, just needs to go away. So my discussion with admin tonight was like, I think I should just go to Windows 10 Enterprise long-term support, which is another variant of Windows 10 that's supported until the 2030s or something like that. That might be what I do. I love editing in Final Cut. I will never give up having a Mac around. And maybe that's the answer to this, is just, you know, keeping the Mac and just eventually retiring Windows entirely out of my workflow or whatever. But there's stuff that I have that does rely on Windows, which, including the 3DS capture card, which is why I need Windows around. But I doubt Windows could ever become my primary work platform again because it's just so bad. Anyway, that's all. I really needed to complain. Let me know what you think, but I'll just stick with macOS. That's what it really comes down to. I'll see you tomorrow.